we wanted to create an album that could be darker than the earlier albums. We wanted it to be heavier, more cinematic, and I think we achieved that, and we are really happy with it.
Hello, you metal pilgrims, and welcome to the new episode of our interview series on our new channel, MP2. Our today's guest is Miguel Espinosa Ortiz of the band Persefone. Mo, thank you so much for finding time and joining me today. How are you, man?
I'm very fine, thank you for having me in your show. Me and my cat, by the way.
Oh my God, your cat is so black that it literally blended with your sweater. That's
she
awesome.
Will come back for sure at some moment.
What's her name?
Core.
I got it. Okay.
It's like we had the second album of the band is called Core.
Yeah.
Because we have Persefone, that is the goddess of the underworld, and Core is the name that she had before being kidnapped.
I didn't know that.
I like the idea. It was like, okay, I have Persefone, now I have Core.
Okay, that's
form.
That's awesome. And are you in Andorra these days?
Yeah.
How is the situation there with all this stuff going on around the world, COVID and everything?
To be true, it's pretty good. I think.
It's good
I
to
have
hear
the
that.
feeling that I think that the feeling that the pandemic is right now going away in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's decreasing a lot. I think that in a few months we will be back on normality. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I simply cannot wait.
Awesome. Well, hopefully, again, we all get back to normal, and you and all the other metal bands will be able to hit the road once again, because real heavy metal lives in sweaty clubs and festivals rather than online. I think everyone can agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
All right, man. So it's been exactly a week today when we're talking since the release of your latest studio album, Metanoia, right? So first of all, congrats, man. Congrats on finishing up despite the pandemic or anything else going on around the world. So before we start, can you talk a little bit about the creative process behind it? How did all of this form into this one coherent piece we can hear today?
Well, the album, we were intended to have it ready in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It's been some time.
As you know, things happen, and we simply had to postpone it.
Yeah.
So it has been quite a difficult time because not only the pandemic, because of several personal reasons in the band that has done all the situation for writing the music really, really difficult. But at this point, I think we got what we wanted to. We wanted to create an album that could be darker than the earlier albums. We wanted it to be heavier, more cinematic, and I think we achieved that, and we are really happy with it.
I think cinematic is definitely a good adjective to describe it with. I mean, honestly, when I was listening to it, and I heard it, a couple of weeks before actually the release even, the first thing which struck me the most is that I thought that this might be the most dramatic and intense album opener I've heard in a very long time, right? I mean, just the way you guys build up this tension and everything, and it kind of sets the mood for the entire record. So did you guys do that everything on purpose? Was that like the plan to build this expectation and intensity up and then keep it up throughout the?
No, it was on purpose. Okay. We were when we started working on the album. We as you know, we had the metal side. Yeah. Had drums, we had guitars, and so on, and that's always that's always there. Mm-hmm. The things that we can change is usually landscapes, atmospheres, and the overall feeling that the album is given to the music, but. We were thinking on a lot of on Blade Runner, the soundtrack of Blade Runner. Mm. The guys told me, Mo, if you are going to work on the production of the album, think a lot on that soundtrack, the old one and the new one, and let's combine that with metal and see what happens. And for example, in the intro, I was aiming a lot to this Hans Zimmer vibe. With big orchestras, big brass section, that covers everything, and it very emotional, very very dynamic. It's not just all over the top, but the orchestra comes and goes, and it creates this kind of feeling, and then we put Einar Solberg on top of that, and it was like, for us, it was like, we This is fun because I sent him the song with my voice on it. I sang an idea of something that we thought that it would be a good idea to follow. But of course, we told him, this is just an idea. Do your thing. We want you to be you in this song. And he sent the files back, and it was like, wow, it was so good, so freaking good. I felt like I was like Chewbacca singing, Yeah. It was like, that's terrible, man, But in the end, I'm really happy with the result of this intro. And as you said, I think it sets the mood exactly of what we want to show in the album.
Exactly, man. And you started talking about this partially, but your music is of course very complex, right? It's not just like straight up heavy metal. It's not really straight up progressive, rock or anything like that. So it's a mixture of all the different genres. So when it comes to writing new material, how do you guys divide responsibilities? Who's in charge of what? Because I imagine with such complex arrangements and everything, it might be very hard to come to a decisive conclusion, right? With all the band members.
The process is very similar in every album because it's usually Carlos, the guitar player, the Marc, Bobby, the drummer, and I in this very room that is really small, and we are working here all the time. So when it comes to writing music and when it comes to deciding if we are going proggier, if we are going more metal or we are going full death metal, it all depends on the song.
Okay.
It's like we start pulling the thread and it's like, okay, let's see where are we going, and we follow the direction that we feel is correct, and we listen the stuff that we do several times after we have done it. Sometimes we cut complete sections and we throw it away because it really doesn't work. So it's a really difficult process, but I think it's very in the end there's no person in the decision of let's go. I'm the prog person. I'm the death metal person. Even in my case, that I'm the kind of the soundtrack person. I'm the more responsible of doing all these kind of landscapes and orchestras and so on. Even with that, when I do an idea, the guys come to the studio and they tell me, this is not good. We need to change this. Please do this other thing. Let's find another sound. So in the end, it's all a common effort of the three of us. And in the end, it's very fun because I can give ideas of what the drums should do. If I'm keyboardist, or what the guitar should do, and the drummer can tell me, I don't like this sound, change it. Let's look for something else. So in the end, everything is created by everyone in the band. So it's pretty cool.
This is awesome, and it really looks like a very cohesive organism that kind of works together. And awesome, man, awesome. And did the pandemic change anything for you in terms of the writing process at all? Or, did it have any effect on the sound, you think, or not really?
No, I don't think it had any kind of effect on the sound of the album. But it was really the only thing that the pandemic did was stopping the process. And that's hard because when we start writing, we need to create some kind of movement. It's like if we meet once in a while, the album really doesn't work. So we need to start working very often and meeting very often to be able to make the album grow. So once we started working on the album and we got in a good speed, the pandemic happened and we had to stop, and that was critical for us. It was like, okay, man, we cannot stop now. We need to find a way to continue working, and it was impossible because we are music teachers also, and we had to find ways to continue with our work. But basically all the classes in the students that we had they covered all our time because it wasn't simply just change a class. We need extra time to prepare everything. It was really, really hard in the end. So we had to stop. But after that, I think it was like 6 months later, after the beginning of the pandemic, we started working properly again, and we finally finished the album.
That's really cool. Can you talk a little bit more in details about the songs consciousness, and even more than that, Anabasis? Because I mean, they are written as a 3-piece, basically, each one of them, right? So how did this process of writing these kind of complicated, songs divided into different parts come together? I mean, did you combine 3 different tracks to for them to have a common theme, or were they written as one track and then kind of separated because of the feel? How did all of this arise?
In the case of Consciousness, it was easy because in Atma we wanted to do an instrumental song, but it didn't happen. At some point, we decided that an instrumental didn't make any sense, and we went with a 20-minute song to finish the album. It was crazy. That time it was crazy. It was like, okay, we are about to finish the album. Okay, let's do a 20-minute song. It was like, we are not finishing the album. not any closer. So that was easy because of that. But we wanted to do that instrumental, and in this particular case, we started working on a song, and we said, okay, this is an instrumental. This is absolutely an instrumental, and it makes sense to work a third part of the first 2 consciousness we have in Spiritual Migration. So we love the idea of having the same kind of melodies, playing the old riffs like Spiritual Migration, in the rhythm that we used in the beginning, finishing with Flying Sea Dragons, for example. All that stuff is really fun for us to work as musicians, combine the old melodies with the new melodies, and in that particular case, it was kind of natural. It was easy to work with. In the case of Anabasis, we thought that actually Anabasis Pt2 is I think is the song that we start first when we were writing, and it was the last song we finished. So it covers all the process of the writing process in the album. So we were convinced that song should be at the very end, because the very end of that particular song is very, when it's like when a movie is finishing, it has this vibe that the thing is going to an end, and we had also this interlude at the in between that we thought it could make sense to put it there. And then we have the final song that we always like to finish with this kind of credit songs, like in the movie again. This song that happens during the credits, that it's like, let's go back to relax, a relaxed position, And we saw that would happen, and we loved the idea of combining melodies on the 3 songs, and it came out like that in the end.
This is really a really interesting process, and it's a very conclusive track, right? I mean, it gives you that feeling that, hey, I've kind of summarizes everything you've just heard on the album, right? And and at the same time gives you this feeling that you kind of want to long for more. You even want to do it on a loop, right? I mean, after finishing it, I was like, okay, then the intro comes back again, and you're okay with it because you're in the same mood at the same level, and then it can bring up again. So I think it was a great outro on your pod, guys. So congrats on that one, man. And with such a wide range of different genres intertwined together in your musical style, and of course, most of people describe you guys as progressive death metal, progressive melodic death metal, but there's just so many. I would not be quick to judge, to set a judgment on your style myself. I wouldn't be able to really characterize it, properly. But so let's not do that. But at the same time, I kind of want to know where you guys drew up on your influences, right? I mean, is it more on death metal, on a prog side, or maybe specific bands and everything?
I have to be. How to say it? I don't find a word in English right now. It's probably in the band there are few people that actually listens to metal.
Really?
Which is weird.
It is.
We have Bobby, for example, our drummer. He listens a lot bands like Biffy Clyro, for example. Bands like that. As I said, I'm the soundtrack man. I love soundtracks. I even with Carlos, we write music for movies. and for TV series, for example. We do all this stuff, and that's probably the music I listen more. You know, Carlos is a lot on Pixies, for example, something like that, and he listens a lot more metal than Bobby and I do all together, for example. But in the end, I think it all comes to the bands that we liked when we were younger. You know, back in the day when we were in our 20s, we like a lot. You know, bands like Symphony X, In Flames, all these kind of bands. Yeah, and they inspired us a lot to make music, and all combined throughout the years, we have finally found kind of our sound. You know, it combines death metal, it combines progressive metal. So in a way, the tracks are correct. But you know, when we think on our music, we like to say that we play metal music because at some points we play parts that are rock, basically. Other parts are ambient. Yeah. Other parts are electronic. So it doesn't make any sense to say, progressive death metal. No, it's really not there, you know. In the end, what we like to do is to get all the music that we love and all the music that we like, and even more the music that we've learned recently, and put it all together in our music. So again, in the end, it's a learning curve that lead us to make new music. So, for example, for the new album that we will release in a few years, we intend to listen new music, new musical styles, new bands, something that inspired us to make something new, and we will try to add that to the music.
Do you already have some ideas for the new album? Well, like at least a concept or something of it?
We are already talking about it. That's for sure, because we know that we are slow when we write music. So there's no time to leave behind, you know. But no, I don't think we have a common concept right now where to start off. We are talking more about the direction of the music because we have 6 albums already, and we don't want to repeat ourselves. Yeah. Which is easy to do because it's the same. The last 2 albums is the same musicians working together. So in a way, there's no new people to give
blood. Yeah, to draw
new blood. You know, fresh blood. You know,
just let someone go, fire someone.
Yeah, no. To be fair, the one of the things that we want to do is to work with, in this case, with David Castillo, the guy that did engineered the mixing of the album. But in this case, we want to make him work actively in the songs with us. Okay. So it's a new idea. We don't know if that'll work, but we are aiming for that. So let's see what comes up. In this case, David will be the new fresh blood. Yeah. You know?
And do all the guys in the band have some kind of musical education, a degree or not? I know it's a very random question, but it draws upon the complexity of the sound you guys produce.
The only 2 members in the band that we have some kind of degree, it's Carlos and I. But it was not so long ago that we did that, and we got some kind of certificate because of our job. We are music teachers, and at some point our government told us, okay, guys, you can do classes, but you need some kind of degree. Yeah. That certifies that
you can actually do that.
That you can actually do that, but I don't think that certificate gave us anything extra that we didn't know back in the day. It has been always self-taught. We have always been.
So it came naturally to you. You kind of
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. We are self-taught musicians.
Awesome. That's really cool, man. Well, I don't want to keep you here for too long, so just a couple of more questions if you don't mind, and then we can wrap it up, man. When it comes to, we all, as I said, right, are aiming to go back to real life and enjoying music, the way it's supposed to be enjoyed, at least in my personal opinion. So when it comes to, playing live in front of the audience, do you guys prefer like larger festivals? Because you've performed at everything, right? I mean, do you prefer larger festivals, or you prefer more intimate settings like clubs and stuff like that?
Usually, our best shows have been in small clubs. We, of course, we played in Wacken, and that was crazy. Having all that people there, it was like, crazy, But it's very stressful because you have a time limit that is very, very tight. You cannot go farther, and you don't have. It's not your show, There's a lot of people that there, but it's not your show. It's like, okay, it happens to be, you happen to be there, but when you're playing in a venue, in a small club, people go there because it's you. That you are there. And I remember, for example, the last show we played in Paris, in the Le Petit1. It's a boat that is a venue. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. It's really not that big, and the venue was packed. And it was fun because we were playing interludes, and people were moshing. They are like crazy nuts with us, and I remember that show. Even we had this guy that we brought the guy to record parts of the tour because we wanted to make some kind of documents and kind of a documentary. Of the tour, what was going on in there, and I remember that in that particular show that the audience was so the audience was so crazy that even at some moment it was like, okay, the videos for this show are gonna be amazing. Suddenly we saw the guy there in the middle of the crowd, like and he told us, guys, you cannot ask me to work today. I needed to be there, and it was so magic, It's like when you combine your energy with the people there, it's Absolutely. Like synergic, and it's amazing. I prefer that.
Absolutely, man. And you kind of answered it already, but would you say that this is your craziest touring story, which happened to you on the road, or you have another one in mind as well?
The craziest tour?
Yeah, I mean the craziest story which happened to you on the road. Go for it.
There are a lot of crazy stories that I probably shouldn't mention here.
Something legally you can possibly.
But it's not probably a matter of being legal or not. It's more probably a matter of being respectful with people. Sometimes you find people in tours that are weird people, and they live in a level of weirdness that you're not on, and that for some reason that person thinks that you are, and it's sometimes it's weird, but in the end you respect that they love you in a way. So it's pretty great to have these situations. Sometimes they are kind of uncomfortable, but you remember them with a smile,
Yeah.
But we have a lot of experiences. We had problems in borders in several countries because of reasons. We are a band from Andorra.
Yeah.
And that happens to be an unknown country in a lot of places. So
really?
It's like we were in a bus in Serbia. I remember that, for example, this is a story. We were playing with Lepros in a tour, and we arrived in Serbia, and they were asking us some documents to be able to go through the country, and we didn't have those documents. We weren't prepared, and the guy, the guard in the border, arrived in the bus, and I remember in that particular bus there was a German guy, there was a Norwegian band. There was Swedish people, there was Spanish people, and there was Portuguese people and Andorran people. And I remember the guy with this long coat. It's ugly to say this, but I remember a little bit to this kind of Nazis guards, with the machine gun.
Oh my God.
But it was fun because the guy arrived on the bus with a really nice smile, and he said, "Please, Andorrans, come with me." And it was like, oh crap! It was like, of all of us, you need to ask only the Andorrans to come with you. It was like, okay, let's see. Then it was just an easy process, an administrative process. No problem at all. The guy was so nice, but you see these movies with this kind of people, and you even you're in Serbia, but you know that this country has a complicated history. But he was so respectful. But it was fun. Then it was like, okay, we are scared out of crowd, you know.
Yeah.
He's gonna scare us a lot. But it happened nothing. So it was fun.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm Ukrainian myself, so I really do hope that you guys will be able to, come play in Kyiv sometime soon, and I'll get you live and maybe grab a beer or something like that. So
actually, we were aiming to trying to go into Scandinavia, and we were thinking on going down from Estonia, Lithuania, and even to get to Ukraine, but the COVID, our booking told us, guys, we are aiming to do this in April.
Yeah.
But it's not sure that the COVID won't be gone. But at that moment, and promoters are not that keen on doing this kind of tours yet. So, but the idea is there. So I think at some moment we will have it.
Awesome. Hopefully you guys will be able to do that sometime very, very soon. Mo, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I don't want to keep you here for too long. Anything, you want to share with your fans? Any last message for them, both old and new?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It has been a real pleasure to talk to you. And I think the message is easy. It's the typical message that if you don't know Persefone, you can check us on YouTube, on Spotify. There's a lot of places where you can check our music. You after listening the interview, you might have an idea what we are doing. But again, if you want to stop and listen, leave us a message, because we love to conversate with people, talk to people everywhere in the world. It's really fun for us, and we want to share experiences. So you're more than welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Mo. Once again, Metanoia is already out. It's been out for a week already. If you haven't heard it yet, make sure you check it out. It's a great album. I personally enjoyed it a lot. Mo, thank you so much for your time, man. Keep rocking.
Thanks to you, man.